Good afternoon and welcome to the 39th commencement at the University of New Hampshire School of Law. My name is John Broderick. I'm the Dean of the Law School. And you have one principal responsibility as Dean of a law school, and that's to ensure good weather on graduation. Before I introduce the president of the university to welcome you more formally, I want to acknowledge a few people on the dais and beyond. First of all, I want to welcome Chief Judge Jonathan Lippman, the Chief Judge of New York State, who will be receiving a degree. I want to welcome Solicitor General of the United States, Donald Verrilli, who will be your commencement speaker. I want to welcome on the dais two members of the USNH Board of Trustees, Ken Moulton and Timothy Riley. With us also, who I'll introduce momentarily, is Mark Huddleston, the president of the University of New Hampshire. Always an honor to have him. And with him is the provost for the first time, the provost of the University of New Hampshire, a distinguished scholar in her own right, UNH Provost Lisa McFarland. I also want to acknowledge a few of the former trustees of the law school before we were fully merged as part of the university, and several of them are sitting over here. Ed DuPont, Peter Landau, Brad Cook, Jackie Coburn, Judd Coburn, are here. And they had much to do with the success of the merger that all of you are benefiting from. I also want to acknowledge Jordan Budd, who's on the dais, the Associate Dean. After 3.5 years, I'm surprised he's still speaking to me. A member of our faculty is leaving this year. She has been here 15 years. She's widely respected, but she hears the siren song of private practice where she came from. And we will miss her. I'm going to ask Kimberly Kirkland to stand and be recognized. I also want to introduce someone who will not be speaking today, but who this class of graduates selected as Teacher of the Year at the law school. And that individual is Courtney Brooks. I don't know whether Courtney is here. If she is, would she stand? When I came to the law school 3.5 years ago, the law school had just affiliated with the University of New Hampshire, which made the job very attractive to me, because I've always loved the university and always respected it. And that affiliation would not have happened without the leadership and vision of Mark Huddleston and John Hudson, who was the dean before I arrived. And over those 3.5 years, Mark Huddleston has stewarded the merger of the two schools. And he's done it well. And so much of the credit for what's happening here today, the second graduating class in a sense, of this great university is due to his leadership. And so it's my privilege to introduce to you the president of the University of New Hampshire, Mark Huddleston.
Well, thank you, John, and good afternoon, everyone. You know, I just left a beautiful commencement ceremony on the Durham campus. It was to have started at 10 o'clock this morning. It was bucketing rain all morning, and at 9:59, the clouds parted, blue sky came out, and it was just a perfect commencement ceremony. I know we're going to have one here on our Concord campus, so I'm delighted to be here and delighted to join you for this 39th law school commencement ceremony, although as John said, depending on how you count, it's either the second or third commencement ceremony since the law school has been officially a part of the University of New Hampshire. And as a result, the achievements of our graduates here today are celebrated throughout the state's flagship public university. It's a great day for all of New Hampshire and those that we serve across the nation and around the world. Through our work together, we're creating exciting, innovative, new opportunities to bring UNH scholarship and research to a rapidly changing global community. I'm immensely proud of the law school's commitment to excellence in legal education and its many, many contributions to leadership in public service. And I'm especially inspired by the tremendous potential that all of our graduates here today will bring to their careers, their communities, and their families. So thanks to you all, and hearty congratulations to every one of you. I now invite Dean Broderick back to the podium to tell you about the tradition of advice to the faculty. John?
Thank you very much. There is a tradition here at the law school which I didn't establish and candidly don't fully understand. But that's never stopped me before. But it's a valuable part of this commencement. And it's a valuable part of the commencement because the person I will introduce you to give advice to the graduates from the faculty was selected by the graduates. So in that sense, it's the most meaningful. And the gentleman who will be speaking to you, who's Professor John Orcutt, This, I'm proud to say, is not the first time he's been asked, and I know it won't be the last. So always look forward to hearing what he has to say. It's my privilege to introduce Professor Orcutt.
You know, if you don't mind, I'd like to just take a moment and just look at you. Now, my wife does this with my children, and they refuse to eat breakfast with her anymore because she does this every morning when she's having her coffee and having her toast. She stares at my kids, and they're like, "Dad, we're not eating with Mom anymore." Now, from a kid's perspective, I completely understand. It's creepy, but you know, from the parents' perspective, you all understand. You know, when you're with people that you really love, sometimes you just want to take a look at them and soak them in one more time. Now, you know, the last few years they have not always been the easiest years for me. I've had a few troubles the last few years, but you know when I never have any troubles? When I walk into a classroom and I get to look at you guys, and I've spent a lot of time with you, right? For a lot of you, I've 3 classes, almost every one of you at least 1 class, and I will tell you, I can't thank you enough. When I walk into a class and I look at you and we have a class, everything in the universe is right. Now, I'm supposed to give you some advice. This is an impossible task for me to give meaningful advice, so I'm going to try. But in all seriousness, you know, when I was selected, I was really honored, and then I get really stressed out because it's like, what am I going to tell these people? It was actually last night, probably around 3 o'clock in the morning when I was writing my talk. I know that's a shock. I was doing it at 3 o'clock in the morning. I realized, and this is it. Here's my advice. Call. I can't give you real good advice right now because you know what? Each one of you deserves individual advice. Every one of you. And you know, I don't need to tell you this. We are a family here, right? Whether you like it or not, and in fact, actually, in many ways, we're the worst kind of family, right? Because you can't get rid of us, right? Our stink is on you forever. You're part of us. And it's not me, it's the faculty, it's all of us. You're a part of us. And I can tell you, I always want to help you, and every one of them wants to help you. And you know how we can help you? When you have a problem, when you need something, call. That's it. It's really, so my very specific advice, call, and I mean it. This morning, 11 o'clock this morning, I got a phone call from a graduated 2 years ago. And I'm going to tell you, I bet you he's the kind of graduate who's similar to at least some of you. He graduated, he was a fabulous student. He was incredibly smart, very thoughtful, hardworking. When he graduated, he did not have a job. Not only did he not have a job, he didn't feel like there was any job that was out there waiting for him. It was around September of that year. I was talking to him around that September after he graduated. And he called me because he started having things started getting a little better. I helped him with his resume, I helped him with his cover letter, and he got 2 job offers. And then I could give some real advice. I could help steer him one place or the other. I was talking to him this morning, 2 years later. Guess what? He's got a new job offer. And now he finally got the job that he really wanted when he graduated. The first job he took, he didn't really want that job. It was okay. It was fine. But the job he really wanted, he got that 2 years later. And what he was calling to talk to me about was, how is he able to preserve the relationship with his first law firm while moving off to the law firm that he really wants? And so we talked, and it was wonderful. You know, that's why we do our job. Every person on the faculty, that's why we do our job. I'm going to be eating this thing the whole time. There we go. Now, but honestly, that's every one of us call. Now, I feel like I'm supposed to give some sort of more general advice, because that feels like that's just too quick. I have 2 things I want to tell you. And these are sort of the more general platitudes, and I never know whether these are useful or not, but I'm going to try. Remember why you came to law school. Now, I know generally, like if I was to ask any of you and we were in a crowd and I go, why'd you go to law school? And it's typical, we're all cynics now. Nobody wants to be honest. And so, like, you know, my cynical answer, if I'm trying to be cool, it's like the reason I went to law school is because when I was a senior in college and it was time to look for a job, I didn't know how to write a resume. So I like to help people with resumes. I didn't own a suit. And even if I owned a suit, I didn't know how to tie a tie. How am I supposed to go to career services and get a job? But my roommate was taking the LSAT. I know how to fill out forms to take tests. I know how to take tests. I took the test. I'm in law school. And you know, it's kind of true. But that's not why I went to law school. I wanted to go to law school ever since I was very young. And why did I want to go to law school? And I'm sure it's really the same answer for every one of you. I wanted to make the world a better place. I really did. I thought, and I know now, that being a lawyer, and not even just being a lawyer, being trained in the law allows me the ability to make the world a better place. Now, very easy to remember that when you're in college. Very easy to remember that when you start law school. You know when it's hard to remember that? Once you start working. Right? Life's messy. You start moving in one direction or another. You start pursuing this promotion. Well, I need a little more money for this, for that, and you lose it. And I would say, I know I lost my path when I was working before, and I forgot why I wanted to be a lawyer, why I went to law school. And you know when I found out, or when I sort of rediscovered my purpose? I was working at my investment bank, and it's just like here. I was working late hours. I was out in San Francisco, and we had a night cleaning crew. And it was the same guy who came in and cleaned my floor every night. I was usually the last person there. And he'd come by my office every night at 9, and we'd take a break, and we'd have a cup of tea. He was an immigrant from Taiwan, and he was about 75 years old. And he was fabulous. He'd tell me stories about his family, and I just loved sitting down, having tea with him, and hearing about his life. One day, he was really upset. And the reason he was upset was because his kids wanted to make him quit. They were embarrassed that he was working. He had put his kids through college. One was a pharmacist, the other was a software executive, and they were embarrassed that his dad, well, they were embarrassed that his dad was working, their dad was working, and they were embarrassed that their dad was basically cleaning. And he was so upset. He's like, what did I do wrong with my kids that they don't understand why I'm here? I come in every night, place is a mess. When I leave every night, place is better. I have a purpose. I make the world better. Every day, it's a little less messy because of me. When you're thinking about how to change the world, I think the reason why I forgot why I wanted to change the world, most problems you deal with in life, the more you understand them, the easier they get. Except when you want to change the world. The more you understand the problem, the bigger it gets, the scarier it gets. It's like a really old, tough steak. The more you chew on it, it just fills up your mouth, and then after a while you want to give up. And I do if it's a tough steak. But when it comes to making the world a better place, that individual what he reminded me of is I don't need to cure cancer to make the world a better place. I don't need to be the person who ends oppression. If I just do a little bit, if everybody just does a little bit, we can all make the world a better place. And I will never forget my purpose after that talk. And I'll tell you, my purpose, I grew up very poor. And for me, it's always, jobs probably mean more to me than to most people. It was because I grew up poor. I had a single mom for a while. She was on unemployment for huge amounts of time. It was not always easy. So for me, jobs mean a lot. So my purpose, I think everybody should have a good job. That's it. That's simple. That's what I always want to help people do. Everybody can find their little purpose, and you can make the world a better place. Now, last thing I want to tell you. You guys are going to be awesome. And really, when I say that, do you remember when we had, and actually almost every one of you I had for first semester contracts. Graduate students, JD students, I had you all. Now, you remember when we first started taking contracts, and it was probably around middle of October, and I think I'm the only one who was telling you you're going to have to take a closed book exam. And you're like, and that's usually when I start getting the rumblings, like, this is ridiculous. Like, how dare you? How dare you think I can memorize all these rules? This is ridiculous. But I tell you, you know what? I've been doing this for a number of years. You're going to be fine. I could take week by week. This is what you're going to feel this week. That's what you're going to feel that week. Even when we got down to like the last 5 days before the exam, this is what you're going to feel on day one. This is how you're going to feel about 12 hours before the exam. Was I right? It's going to be the same with your careers. I know, like, right now it doesn't always feel great, right? The job market's not as good as it should be. It's getting better. And I will tell you, it is getting better. It's not getting better fast enough, but it's getting better. You guys are going to do amazing things. And you know what else I want to tell you? When you're looking at your first job, you always remember with the first job, it's the first one. The one that's important is probably about the third one. So don't get too worried about that first one. And the other thing I want to tell you, and I'm going to tell you, I think this is for you, in particular for your class, what's going to be your biggest struggle, a lot of you aren't going to be lawyers, at least not for the bulk of your career. The world is changing. But you know what's going to happen? What I hope we've done here, and I think we've done here, we've trained you to operate in a complex, multifaceted, diverse world better than just about any other profession out there. You know what you're going to do? You guys, what we train you to do, we train you to solve problems. That's all we do. What do you do every single class? You get a messy fact pattern that if you think about, like, before you came to law school, you look at that messy fact pattern and you go, I have no idea what's going on here. Now you look at the messy fact pattern and it's like you don't even realize it's happening. It's just Iraq. It's all Iraq. But it's true. You start breaking down, okay, what are the key issues here? Okay, great. What are the rules? I don't have a rule, I can't help you. What are the rules? I don't know the rule, I'll go find the rule. I don't know the rule, I can't find it, I'll find someone else who can find the rule. And then you just start methodically working your way through it, and then at the end you got an answer and there's your conclusion. And now it's just second nature to you. And I bet you don't even appreciate it, but I bet your family members do. They're like, you know what, you're insufferable when you come home for Thanksgiving now. You know everything. You can answer every question. You solve every problem. And while it may be insufferable when you're at your Thanksgiving dinner, what organization doesn't need someone like you? And I'm telling you, the way the world's changing now, your skill set is valued by so many people. Anyway, I just want to tell you, you're going to be awesome. It has been a wonderful, it's just a joy to spend time with you, and I want to thank you. And I just want to ask you for one quick favor. And I know we already did a little shout out to Kimberly, but actually I want to do it to two people. We lost two faculty members this year. We lost Kimberly, and we also lost Chuck. And you know I should call him the Honorable Charles Temple, but I can't. I don't think, in fact, it's good that I'm not a litigator because he'd hold me in contempt of court. I don't think I could do it. What I'd like for you, I'd like everybody to stand up, and I'd like for us to give a standing ovation to Kimberly and Chuck. The two of them have meant so much to me. Thank you, guys. I can't wait to see you guys get your diplomas.
That concludes our graduation ceremony. Good advice from John Orcutt. I would like to call upon the graduate student speaker chosen by her colleagues to come up. Her name is Razan Taha, and she will later receive a master's degree in commerce and technology. One of the things that distinguishes this small law school on White Street is that we draw students from around the globe. The speaker this afternoon is from the country of Jordan. So if she would come up.
Hello, everyone. Before I start, I'd like to thank whoever put the flag. It's perfect behind me. This is the Jordanian flag, so it's going to be my background. It fits perfectly. Students, family members, faculty, parents, uncles who were not invited but still showed up. My name is Razan Taha, and I'm as honored to speak here today as I am unqualified. I'm only a 22-year-old kid with little to know about the law of the United States. I come from a small country in the Middle East called Jordan. The most important rule that I have learned so far while being in New Hampshire is to live free or die, which apparently means that I can drive my car without wearing a seatbelt. Also, it means that I can ride around my bike eating the flies as they hit my face and not wear a helmet. But hey, live free or die. Even though I know a little about the law, I was chosen to represent the graduate students. An honor forever will be in my heart. Not sure what you all were thinking, really, but I'll do my best not to flunk this speech. But in case I do, thankfully, there's an option on your devices that will allow you to fast forward and skip my speech, and you'll never have to hear me again. My dear classmates could have chosen someone else with better advice to give about the outside world, as I only know little about it. However, as there were only 3 nominees, I was able to bribe my friends with homemade brownies so they would vote for me. And it worked. So today, I'd like to share with you my experience at UNH School of Law, which if I had to summarize in one word, I'd say brutal. You would think that an Olympic athlete would be able to go through law school very easily, as they're used to dealing with pressure, are able to push through obstacles, and are trained to control their emotions. But to be honest with you, my first few months at the school were nothing but torture. Not only that I couldn't understand anything I read in my books, couldn't write a simple memo, and struggled to finish half of the reading before class. I also developed a serious addiction to caffeine and peanut butter ice cream. I mean, how else would you be able to pass and survive graduate school in a form of law school? I'm used to muscle cramps, long hours of working out, and mentally preparing myself before a big race. But neither of this helped me survive this year. I had to rely on my family, friends, professors, who constantly reminded me that I'm privileged to be here. The encouragement and the continuous support kept my feet on the ground and my head focused on the big picture. As I know that each one of the graduates has at least one person who they owe this success to, I would like all of us to give a round of applause for our family members, friends, significant others, and professors who are true blessings. So please give a round of applause. I would like to take this moment to recognize the individual who made this day special for me, starting with my sister Susan, who's also graduating today with an LLM. Susan, without you, I wouldn't have been here and I wouldn't have made it. So thank you very much. I'd also like to thank my friends and family who came from Qatar, from North Carolina, and from back home, Jordan. It took them about 14 hours to get here, from Egypt as well. Without you guys, I wouldn't have this special day. I'd also like to thank Christine Russo. She's basically the international students' guardian angel. She went above and beyond her job to make us feel at home. From making sure that we're not going to get deported because of any illegal visa problems, to giving us advice on what's the best shopping mall around town. She did it all. Lastly, I would like to say how grateful and honored I am to have been taught by such an inspiring and accomplished faculty. Our professors love what they do, and their attitudes towards us made our year unforgettable. Professor Orcutt and Professor Murphy, they have truly showed me that being a business person isn't all that bad. Regardless of the common statement that business people aren't as smart as lawyers, I hope that me being here today helped prove otherwise. We business people may not have quite the collection of fancy words that lawyers do. However, we may get things done occasionally. The faculty members of our school have passion that I have not seen in any other educational institute. They show up every day with nothing less than happy faces and direct goals of taking us to the next level. They inspired me to find a profession that would fulfill me in such a way that I don't have to go to work a day in my life. My advice to you, graduating class of 2014, is to find your purpose in life. Find out what truly and deeply makes you the person you are, original and extraordinary. Never settle for a job that doesn't satisfy you. Money is great. It'll buy you that red Corvette that Professor Orcutt really wants to buy. But it won't be enough if you realize that you have been wasting your time. Doing something you only fell into and not consistently consciously chose. Surround yourself with people who inspire possibility, who accept and accentuate the positive in you, and trust that you will reach your happy place and will remain in it for the rest of your life. And most importantly, stay in touch with your friends that you made while at UNH School of Law, as sharing an experience with someone builds an unbreakable bond and sincere relationships. So enough with the drama and the sadness. We made it, guys. Time to celebrate. Thank you.
I should have told you we only admit Olympic athletes from Jordan. And welcome to your family. That's a long trip. We're honored to have you with us. It's now my pleasure to introduce the JD student speaker, selected in this case by his classmates. He's the president of the Student Bar Association. And to show you we have students from Jordan, we also have students from Bow, New Hampshire. And I'd like to have Patrick Ives come forward. He's a remarkable young man.
Mom and Dad, surprise. Thank you, Dean Broderick, trustees, distinguished guests, school administrators, professors, visiting professors, adjunct professors, custodial staff and security personnel, school librarians, folks who occasionally man Jan's desk, Jan, folks just using this pavilion to get out of the sun, infrequently seen relatives, librarians, libertarians, vegetarians, workaholics and alcoholics, judges, clerks, and hobos, friends, family members, and less accomplished siblings. And to the 2014 JD graduating class. Got a little ahead of myself. First off, this afternoon isn't all about us. It's as much for us as it is for all of them. So I hope that you'll join me in thanking our friends, our family, and our loved ones, our pharmacists, our therapists, and our bartenders. They may not have always understood our struggles, despite our enthusiastic attempts to educate them. But they were there to variously comfort or medicate us through the hard times, and we are forever in their debt. Now, since you do get a student speaker, I figured I'd take a little time to review what we've been through over the last 3 years and tell you what I think, more than alcohol, sustained us through the last 3 years. The 123 of us seated here constitute some 600,000 hours of academic effort. 600,000 hours. If those were billable, our class gift practically could have been a minor league baseball team. But instead, we voluntarily took on this task at a time when the economy was down and when the odds were against us. And what I believe sustained us was each other. I know it's a little cliche to suggest we all got through this together, but not a one of us did this alone. The people who sat next to you got you through the last 3 years. Sat next to you in classrooms and in the library, in living rooms and in bars. We shared stories and study rooms, flashcards and free pizza. We took on finals, and we overcame the most demanding workloads of our lives. We didn't quit. We pushed harder and worked longer than we thought we could, spurred on by the encouragement and the example of the people sitting next to us. As a class, we took on caseloads where we were in front of judges and juries. We went toe-to-toe with billion-dollar corporations and helped foster new art and new ideas. We didn't take the easy way out. We upped the ante, bit off more than we can chew. We learned both wisdom and humility. And we were able to do all of this, to learn all of this, because of the people that sat next to us, who helped us when we faltered and when we failed. We picked ourselves up and pushed each other on. And our struggles were softened and our successes sweetened by the people sitting next to us. So while I owe a tremendous debt to the faculty, my professors in this school, a debt, by the way, that I'll be paying off in monthly increments well into my 50s, I owe a much greater debt to the people that sat next to me. Thank you all, my friends, and Godspeed.
And for the last of the student speakers, these are two students, Robert Dillon and Obi Nsaduka, who are coming up to make a presentation of a class gift. And I said, anytime the graduating class is giving you $1 million, you bring them to the stage. That's my theory, and I'm sticking with it. In any event, I would love those two folks to come forward.
First off, I just want to thank the efforts of Brittany Freistad, who, without her efforts and ideas, we wouldn't have raised nearly as much money. It's the pleasure of the class of 2014 to present to the school. We raised over $750 towards the purchase of picnic tables for the courtyard behind the jury box.
He said $500, didn't he? Thank you very much to all of you, and we will absolutely do that. And I'm grateful for it. We will now present honorary degrees, and two of the honorary degree recipients are not here. One of them will be here in September. That's Justice Sandra Day O'Connor, who wanted to be here. She's traveling. And the other is Senator Bob Dole, who most of us remember as a candidate for the presidency in 1996, but mostly for his efforts in World War II and for American veterans. He's an extraordinary American. But what I would like to do to honor them, even though they're not here at the moment, is just to read to you the degrees that they will receive. Justice O'Connor's will be received in the law school in September, and I intend to deliver Bob Dole's to him personally. Justice O'Connor's degree reads, upon the recommendation of the dean and faculty, hereby confers on Sandra Day O'Connor, in recognition of her groundbreaking and inspiring life, her historic appointment by President Reagan in 1981 as the first woman to serve on the United States Supreme Court, where she rendered remarkable and respected service for 25 years. Her commitment to and advocacy for improving the manner and financing employed in state judicial elections to ensure integrity, and for her nationally recognized and creative efforts to promote civic education, especially among the young. The honorary degree of Doctor of Laws and all rights, privileges, and honors pertaining to this degree, given at Concord, New Hampshire, United States of America, on the 17th day of May, 2014. It will be an honor to give it to her on your behalf and on behalf of the school. Because of Senator Dole's generosity and his commitment to what we're doing at the Rudman Center, we will soon be inaugurating Robert J. Dole Fellowships for American veterans who have an interest in public service. I've been to see Senator Dole 3 times. He now knows who I am. He's not sure why I'm there all the time. He's very gracious, and I respect him greatly. I want to read his degree, which I will deliver to him within a matter of a few weeks. And he did want to be here personally. He just is unable to travel this distance. His degree reads, in recognition of his incomparable service to the nation on the battlefield, as Majority Leader of the United States Senate, as a Republican Party nominee for the presidency of the United States in 1996, as a stalwart advocate for veterans and disability rights, for his work to create and fund the World War II Memorial, and for his creation of the Robert J. Dole Fellowship Program for American veterans at the Warren B. Rudman Center, the honorary degree of Doctor of Laws, and all the rights, privileges, and honors pertaining to this degree, given at Concord, New Hampshire, United States of America, on the 17th day of May, 2014. And Senator Dole asked me to extend to each graduate his congratulations on this big day. And it'll be a pleasure to give him this degree on behalf of the faculty and on your behalf. I'm going to ask Judge Lippman, if he would, to step up, and President Huddleston. And very quickly, before I read this degree, Jonathan Lippman is the Chief Judge of New York State. He's the highest-ranking judicial official in New York, but that's not really why he's here. He's here because he's making a difference in an area where many are not with his title. And I want to just tell you a brief story. I really love Jonathan Lippman and admire him greatly. I wish every judge in America had his heart. I'll tell you a funny story. I mentioned it today at breakfast. He and I were speaking. I was still on the court. And we were speaking at a meeting of professors in Maryland at the University of Maryland Law School. And I arrived early, and there was a large classroom like the Rich Room here. And I said to the people, I need to use the bathroom. Is there a bathroom here? They said, yes, it's right across the hall. So I went into the bathroom, a fairly large bathroom. And so as I was washing my hand, the door opened, and it was the chief. And I was standing there with my hands dripping. I hadn't seen him for a while. And he rushed over towards me, and he gave me a big hug, and I was giving him a hug. Our cheeks were next to each other, and I thought, oh, dear God, don't open that door. That could have been a long explanation. But in any event, the affection was genuine. It's an honor to have him here. He has mattered in New York. He has mattered to the country. He was speaking last week at Stanford. He gave the William Brennan Lecture in New York this past week. And to have him on the stage here at this law school is an honor. And so I want to read his degree. The University of New Hampshire School of Law, upon the recommendation of the dean and faculty, hereby confers upon Jonathan Lippman, in recognition of his distinguished service as Chief Judge of the State of New York, his national leadership to ensure that all citizens, regardless of means, have access to justice in America, his implementation of a 50-hour pro bono requirement for all lawyers in New York, and for the inspiration he has provided to others to act on his example, the honorary degree of Doctor of Laws and all rights, privileges, and honors pertaining to this degree, given at Concord, New Hampshire, United States of America, on the 17th day of May, 2014. I want to present the degree to President Huddleston to present directly to Judge Lippman.
Thank you for your service. Thank you. Get a photo op over here? Okay. Judge, you have to bring this too. Okay. John, have you got that? You fix this one first. Sure. Turn around. Prepare to be hooded. I got two.
First of all, I want to say that I am proud to hug Dean Broderick any place, anywhere. I want to thank you, President Huddleston, this great law school and university, my dear friend John Broderick, for this great honor. Let me say particularly that Dean Broderick represents to me a role model for all of us in the judiciary and in academia as to what a lawyer is supposed to be. Someone who understands what equal justice is all about, what access to justice is all about. So to me, he's my hero, and to have two related but distinctly wonderful careers on the bench, in the law, on the bench, and of course here at the law school, and to do it in his own unique way with this tremendous commitment to justice for all, rich and poor, high and low alike. So I thank the Dean for his efforts around the country, and I thank you that, you know, there is clearly a crisis in access to justice in our country, particularly in civil legal services for the poor. At best, we're meeting 20 to 25% of the need, and yet we have to recognize, as lawyers, as judges, that it is our special moral and ethical obligation to provide representation for those most in need of legal services. People fighting for the necessities of life, the roof over their heads, their physical safety, the well-being of their families, their livelihoods, and for the judiciary. It is central to our constitutional mission to foster equal justice. So I'm proud of our accomplishments in New York. I'm proud of being able to help to provide public funding for legal services. I'm proud of promoting pro bono service by lawyers, and I'm most proud of working with this new generation of lawyers who recognize, who get it, that being a lawyer is about service to others. This is what we do. This is what defines us. And I just say to you that whatever you do in the legal profession, that always remember, we are not narrow, we are not parochial, and we understand that being a lawyer is about embracing the core values of our profession, serving others, leveling the playing field, not just for those who have resources, but for everybody. If you remember that, if you remember that you're joining a noble profession, a truly noble profession, that, again, is all about helping others, you will always be proud to be a lawyer. I'm proud of all of you, and I'm so proud to receive this honorary degree from this great law school. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
A few months ago, when I was feeling particularly optimistic, I decided to write a letter to the Solicitor General of the United States, whom I had never met and was not sure would get my letter. That's a lesson for you in there. And to my delight, he responded promptly and accepted the invitation to come and to speak to you today. The Solicitor General of the United States is an amazing lawyer. He's grounded, by the way. He grew up in Connecticut. He was born in New Rochelle, New York. He went to Yale Law School, where he graduated with honors. Yale University, where he graduated with honors. He went to Columbia to law school, where he was editor-in-chief of the Law Review. Not stopping there, he got a job clerking for Judge Skelly Wright, a distinguished jurist on the D.C. Court of Appeals, the mini Supreme Court of the United States. And not stopping there, he clerked for Justice William Brennan, one of the outstanding justices in the 20th century on the United States Supreme Court. He practiced at Jenner and Block, which is a national law firm, where he did pro bono work. He worked at the Department of Justice in a senior position. He was selected by President Obama to be a special assistant at the White House. And in 2011, President Obama selected him and nominated him to be Solicitor General of the United States of America. That's a huge and powerful and important job to represent the government in the Supreme Court of our country. And he was confirmed by the United States Senate. And so I think what he has to tell you today will be important. He's argued 36 cases in the Supreme Court. One of the most recent was the Affordable Care Act, which was argued for 3 days. I'm proud that he's here. I'm proud that he and I share the same profession. And so I'd like to read his degree. The University of New Hampshire School of Law, upon the recommendation of the dean and faculty, hereby confers upon Donald B. Verrilli, Jr., in recognition of his current and distinguished service as the 46th Solicitor General of the United States, for his service as Deputy Counsel to President Obama and as an Associate Deputy Attorney General in the United States Department of Justice, and for his meaningful and highly valued contributions to the equal justice community in the United States during his many years in practice. The honorary degree of Doctor of Laws and all the rights, privileges, and honors pertaining to this degree, given at Concord, New Hampshire, United States of America, on the 17th day of May, 2014, and I'll ask President Huddleston to present it to the Solicitor General.
President Huddleston and Dean Broderick, distinguished faculty and alumni and proud parents and friends and family, and most importantly, the members of the graduating class of the University of New Hampshire School of Law of 2014, I want to tell you how thankful I am that you asked me to be here with you today. It's a real privilege to share a wonderful moment like this with you and your families on a glorious, glorious New Hampshire afternoon. And it's a deeply moving honor for me to be awarded this honorary degree. I'm really, really touched, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. So you have put in your 600,000 hours of work. You have finished your exams. The books are closed. You're ready to go. You're on the threshold of this profession, and you're about to enter a profession at a time of real challenges, but also a time of great opportunity. Some of the challenges you already understand all too well, and you sure don't need me to tell you that you face a level of economic uncertainty that graduating lawyers of the past several decades have not had to face. And as you begin to make your way, particularly those of you who are carrying a lot of educational debt, the uncertainty can be a little scary, I'm sure. But you should leave here today full of confidence. You're graduating from a great law school whose reputation for excellence gets stronger every year. The school has given you all the tools you need to thrive. Whether your focus is intellectual property, criminal justice, government service, or general practice, you're going to do just fine. In fact, you're likely to do very well. You will find the opportunities you need to succeed. And if I had any doubts about that, listening to Professor Orcutt has dissolved them for me. I don't know Professor Orcutt, I've never met him before, but I heard enough from him today to know that if he tells you that you are awesome and you're going to do great, then you are definitely awesome and you are going to do great. And it is really important that you feel that confidence as you leave here today, because it's what's going to allow you to take on the really important challenge that our profession faces going forward. Right now, our nation is in the middle of a great debate about what to do about the ever-rising tide of income and wealth inequality. That debate will shape what kind of nation we're going to be in the future, and as citizens, you should all participate in that debate. But we lawyers need to have our own debate about what rising inequality means for us and for our ability to serve the public. Lawyers now work staggering numbers of hours at hourly rates that would have seemed unimaginable just a couple of decades ago to produce massive quantities of superb legal work that only the tiniest fraction of American society could ever hope to pay for. And at the same time, access to even the most basic legal services slips increasingly out of reach of the middle class, not to mention the working poor and those society has left behind. And the most profound challenge that our profession faces, and the most profound challenge that all of us face, all of you here today face, is what we're going to do about that. But that challenge offers also the greatest opportunity for each of you and for all your compatriots graduating from law school this spring around the country to show real leadership, to put your own stamp on this profession, and to make sure your own lives as lawyers are as fulfilling as they can be. Since the days of the founding of this country, lawyers have played a special role. Lawyers like John Adams were statesmen. They thought it was their duty to serve both their clients and the public good. And that uniquely American professional ethos remains at the heart of what it means to be a lawyer in this country. And that's why you heard Chief Judge Lippman say that very thing to you just a couple of minutes ago. You've got a duty to represent your client zealously, but you're not just a hired gun when you're out there. You also have a duty to the public. You preserve the rule of law by acting with integrity in all you do. But you also take on an obligation to do your part to ensure that our legal system offers equal justice to all, not just to the economic elites. This problem of access to justice is not a new one. 100 years ago, the great Louis Brandeis implored law students to use their powers for the protection of the people, not just the elites. And 50 or so years ago, Presidents Kennedy and Johnson and their attorneys general issued a similar call on the legal profession to renew its commitment to the public good. And a lot was accomplished. We now have the Legal Services Corporation, and we have robust legal aid societies. We now have first-class public defenders' offices here in New Hampshire and in many parts of the country. We have a vibrant public interest bar. We have a much more substantial commitment to pro bono on behalf of the private bar. Law schools like this one teach the importance of public service through clinical work and pro bono programs. But even with all that progress, I don't think there's any doubt that this is a moment in which the profession needs to renew its sense of public responsibility. And that's because for all people in our society to live with dignity and with both the hope and the real prospect that they can better themselves, the essential ingredient is justice. Justice in the courtroom, justice in all their dealings with government, justice in the workplace. And as lawyers, it's up to us to provide that justice. That's what we do as lawyers. And this is a call that we really need to answer with increasing urgency and focus in the rise of rising inequality if our profession is going to continue to stand for the values it should stand for. Now, I am not going to set out a comprehensive plan for dealing with the problem of access to justice, and that's because I don't have one. But I do want to put one idea on the table today that I think could make a difference. It's a pretty simple idea. I hope it sticks with you because it's something that you can act on from your very first day as a practicing lawyer. And it's a way you could put one piece of Professor Orcutt's advice into practice, into motion, into effect from your very first day as a practicing lawyer. And the idea is this: every practicing lawyer should aspire to dedicate 10% of his or her time every year to serving the needs of the public. 10% may sound like a lot. It's actually not that hard, though. I set that 10% marker for myself every year in my 20-plus years in private practice, and I made it just about every year. And if you do it, you'll be able to make it just about every year, too. Obviously, this isn't going to solve all our problems, but if every practicing lawyer did this, that would generate millions of hours of time to devote to the needs of people who cannot afford basic legal services. And while it would be great if the organized bar and the leaders of our major firms in this country made a genuine and sustained commitment to that 10% goal, another way to go about it is for all of you, as the upcoming and future leaders of this profession, to just lead by example, to just do it. Now, I know there are lots of reasons you might want to shy away from making a commitment of this kind, and one of them might be that you would be afraid that if you're serving these kinds of clients and the problems they have, you're going to be taking on unsavory clients or unpopular causes, and those might be held against you. They might threaten your future ambitions, might even threaten your financial security. You know, and I can't say fears like that are totally groundless, especially given the climate that we live in these days politically. But what I can say to you is that it would be a real mistake to let fears like that dictate what you do. You may think that you're playing it safe by making a choice to avoid controversy, but in reality, you're going to be missing out on the experiences that will make a huge difference in the kind of lawyer you become, and most importantly, in the satisfaction that you'll derive from practicing law. And as I look back on my own career, the single thing I can identify as having had more to do than anything else with me being the lawyer that I am today is the pro bono work I took on. I started taking on habeas corpus representations of death row inmates right after I began practice. And I did a lot of that work over the years. And I can tell you with 100% certainty that I would not be the Solicitor General today had I decided to play it safe and not take on those representations. 5 different times, my representations of people on death row ended up taking me to the Supreme Court to argue a case. So a good deal of the experience I had that qualified me for the job came out of that pro bono work. But even more importantly, that's how I really learned what it means to be a lawyer. Because for those clients, I was all that stood between them and execution. And it was my responsibility, even as a young lawyer, to make judgment calls about what arguments to make and how to make them. It was my responsibility to dig deep to make sure that those judgments were based on the best information. And it was my responsibility to stand up for them in court, whether it was in Gulfport, Mississippi, or Jackson, Georgia, or the United States Supreme Court, and give the very best I could on their behalf. And it was through that experience that I came to truly appreciate what it means to be an advocate for a client. And it's where I truly came to appreciate the principle that every person deserves vigorous advocacy on his or her behalf. Now, I will say that working on those cases disabused me of the notion that everyone on death row is a gentle soul misplaced inside a jail, to quote an old Bob Dylan song. But the legitimacy of our adversarial system depends on vigorous advocacy, and that legitimacy is most at issue when an unsympathetic defendant faces the most serious consequences. So I really had to give my very best, and that lesson infused all the work I did for all my clients. And the last thing is that I came to understand that at its heart, being an advocate means being willing to put yourself on the line for things that really matter. And that too is something that has stayed with me throughout my career. So members of the class of 2014, as you leave here today with confidence. And I am really rooting for you to take on these challenges, to seize the great opportunities before you, because if you do, you will make your profession better, you will make your city, your state, your country, your world better, and you will be more fulfilled. That I can guarantee. Thank you again for the privilege of being with you today. I'm deeply, deeply honored.
I heard from William F. Buckley when I graduated. I wished I had heard from the Solicitor General. An honor to have you here. Thank you for those remarks. Thank you for those remarks. At some point, I think during the commencement, we're supposed to award degrees. Have you heard that? Is that why you came here? I think we can get about doing that. And so it's my job to ask the faculty members who are going to assist me in that exercise to move into position so we can get about doing that. And I'm assuming when I say that, they know exactly where they're supposed to be. Are they moving? I think they are. Great.
Will the class of 2014 Juris Doctor candidates please stand?
In recognition of the satisfactory fulfillment of the course of study and all the requirements pertaining thereto, the UNH School of Law hereby awards the degree of Juris Doctor with all the rights and privileges, honors, and marks of distinction pertaining to those elevated to this degree. And I look forward, President Huddleston and I do, to congratulating you as we hand you your degree. So I will allow others to proceed.
Navid Ahmadi. Vitaly Anfimov. Christian K. Ansa. Stephen G. Baker. Hannah D. Baldwin. Christopher A. Baxter. Stefan Berger. Daniel J. Bissing. Christopher S. Botcher. Randy L. Bouchard. Jasmine Charisse Boyd. John S. Brandt. Daniel S. Bretzius. Lindsay J. Britton. Cassandra A. Brown. Raina Burke. Jessica Z. Cantor. Daniel J. Carter. Tyrus S. Cartwright. Mei-Ling Chen. Michael K. Chu. Brian D. Clark. Emily Conant. Kirsten B. Cornell. Alexandra S. Cody. Antonio B. Crite. Andrew W. Crowder-Schaefer. Claire J. Crowley. Robert W. Dillon. Andrew L. Eggleton. Sherilyn M. Egner. Marcus Evans. Adria Brooke Farr. Sarah Farron Marady. Danielle E. Flory. Ida Garamani. Courtney Gray. Oliver Hahn. Jessica Harrison. Elise Hayes. You forgot Fiona Davidson and Esther Dickinson. You gotta do it now. I'll do it now. Fiona M. Davidson. Esther K. Dickinson. Matthew Hayes. Okay, we'll hold up on Matthew Hayes. We got this. We've got this now. Okay, here we go. Joshua Hilliard. Christopher Houlihan. Cooley Horner. Robert Houston. Brittany Freestead. Alexandria Forgione. John Garrigan. Goodness, if I don't know this fellow. Patrick Ives. Andrew Jebeji. Jennifer Jedra. Adam Karras. John Kenny. William Kim. Annie Cook. I know, isn't this ridiculous? Matthew Hayes. Catherine Hedges. Judson Hescock. David Colsar. Seth Cruz. Dane Culpa. Tony Lacasse. Catherine Lacey. Alexandra Lakshmanan. Chelsea Lamberson. Chelsea Lane. Erica LaRoque. Jillian Lawler. Jillian Lawrence. Michael LeBrun. Noah Ligeti. Craig Litherland. Carl Lovell. Brooke Lovett Shiloh. Jared Madison. Jacob Mangan. Ravi Masand. Callan Maynard. John P. McCormick. Timothy McKiernan. Rakia Medley. Jillian Michaud King. Aaron Mitchell. Jason Moore. Tin Nguyen. Jeff Razinen. Andrew Reagan. Justice Rhines. Michael Serbo. John Schroeder. Paul McDaniels. Ryan McKenna. Lori Smith. Beth Smith. Matthew Stanford. Christopher Thomas. James Nukas. Anna Oakes. Alexander Ozarzak. Marissa Schutz. Lena Shio. Annie Shannon. Jennifer A. Shea. Matthew Shrimpton. Michael Todd. Daniel Tothill. Jessica Tran. Nathan Valverde. Sean Vavra. Christopher Vukides. Thomas Wertman. Scott Whitaker. Stephen Zaharias. Susan Zuko. Will the class of 2014 Joint Juris Doctor and Master of Laws and Intellectual Property candidates please stand?
While you're standing, in recognition of the satisfactory fulfillment of the course of study and all the requirements pertaining thereto, the University of New Hampshire School of Law hereby awards the degree of Juris Doctor and Master of Laws in intellectual property with all the rights and privileges, honors, and marks of distinction pertaining to those elevated to this degree. Congratulations.
You may be seated. Will the class of 2014 Master of Laws in Commerce and Technology candidate please stand?
Let me disclose here you graduated 1 and 2 in your class. While you're standing, in recognition of the satisfactory fulfillment of the course of study and all the requirements pertaining thereto, the University of New Hampshire School of Law hereby awards a degree of Master of Laws in Commerce and Technology with all the rights and privileges, honors, and marks of distinction pertaining to those elevated to this degree. Congratulations.
Majed Fadul. Razan Taha. Will the class of 2014 Master of Laws and Intellectual Property candidates please stand?
In recognition of the satisfactory fulfillment of the course of study and all the requirements pertaining thereto, the University of New Hampshire School of Law hereby awards a degree of Master of Laws in Intellectual Property with all the rights and privileges, honors, and marks of distinction pertaining to those elevated to this degree. Congratulations.
Mushabab Al-Katani. Obiageli Ezenduka. Ifaka Meira. Binchang Lu. Ronald Morton. Sharon Sisinyana Mutimkulu. Kashtab Nadkami. Justice Ogoro. V. Fan. Tatang Henry Tachi. Suzanne F. Taha. Fang Tang. Ya Yang. Now this one already came up, so we're going to skip this. Okay, we're going here. Will the class of 2014 Master of Intellectual Property candidates please stand?
I'll bet you can't imagine what I'm about to say. In recognition of the satisfactory fulfillment of the course of study and all the requirements pertaining thereto, the University of New Hampshire School of Law hereby awards a degree of Master of Intellectual Property with all the rights and privileges, honors and marks of distinctions pertaining to those elevated to this degree.
Adolf Bonstead. Paifang Chen. Po Chen Chen. Xiao Chi Cheng. Vikyat Kaushal. Charu Miglani. Chi Wen. Chi Zhang. Yiying Zhang.
Now that we have the rehearsal over, we'll start that again. I wonder if all the graduates today would stand so that the president of the university may confer your degrees. President Huddleston, I present the UNH School of Law graduating class of 2014.
That's right, as all you newly minted lawyers know it. By the authority vested in me as president of the University of New Hampshire, and in recognition of the satisfactory fulfillment of the courses of study and all requirements pertaining to the degrees awarded, I now confer upon you all the rights, privileges, honors, and marks of distinction pertaining to those elevated to these degrees. Congratulations.
let me warn all of you, your clients won't do that. Please be seated. Congratulations. Before we conclude, I just want to acknowledge, and I believe they're here, Ellen and Jeb Kurlop. Are they in the tent? There they are. I wonder if you just stand very briefly. I wanted to acknowledge them because, as you know, we are spending much time and energy on the Warren B. Rudman Center for Justice, Leadership, and Public Policy to make it possible for young law graduates to go into public service. And Ellen Kurlop and her son came to see me for the last time a month ago and donated $500,000 for the center. I wish you'd help me thank them. It's not too late for someone else. Okay. We're very grateful to the Kurlops. When the graduation concludes, light refreshments in the other tent, and I hope the graduates and their families will take a few minutes and linger. There are also professional portraits that can be taken across the bridge. Before we leave, I want to just speak very briefly. I know it's been a long day, but it's been an important day for you. And I want to share a very brief story that I hope makes a larger point. About 5 years ago, I went very early one morning to Washington, D.C., to a memorial service for a member of Congress who I much respected and admired. He was the only survivor of the Holocaust ever to serve in the Congress of the United States. His name was Tom Lantos of California. And I got to Reagan Airport very early that morning. It was very cold, and there were very few cabs. And so I found one, and I was happy to find him, and he was happy to find a customer. And as we headed across the Potomac, we started conversation. I always talk to cab drivers. Sometimes I tell you the truth, but they always have great stories. And on this day, he told me he was from the Balkans. He had been in America for 25 years, and he had a very thick accent. And he told me proudly that his 2 daughters were born here, and he had 2 grandchildren. And he said to me as we sped along, "I love the American people. Our lives here have been much better than at home." And when we came to the stoplight, he handed me the picture of his granddaughters. And I said, "I have granddaughters too," and so we had found common ground. I was then the sitting Chief Justice, and he didn't know how people would react to that. And so as we sped along, he said, "What do you do for a living?" I was tempted to say I'm between jobs, but I didn't. I said, "I'm a judge, actually. I'm an appellate judge in my state." And this man with the thick accent, with a rising voice full of admiration, said, "You're the most important person in your entire government," he said. "Without people like you, little people like me," he said, "would never be sure if they were truly safe, truly equal, or truly free." And then we got to the Capitol. First and only time in my lifetime. I paid him, and before I left the cab, he reached his right arm over the seat between us to shake my hand. He said, I want to let you know it's been an honor to have you in my cab today, a real honor." And so as I walked towards my destination, I was thinking of his simple wisdom, but I was also thinking he had given me credit I didn't deserve. The people that will ensure that he's truly safe, truly equal, and truly free are you. It's the lawyers that file the cases. It's the lawyers who take the clients. It's the lawyers who take the risk. That's your mission as lawyers. So I congratulate you today for a significant accomplishment on behalf of the law school and the faculty, and my cab driver, too. Best of luck. Congratulations to all of you.